My dad told me, son, if you don't have a job by Friday, don't come home. And because of that conversation he had with me, my brother, and my sister, now fast forward years later, we're all DecaMillionaires. We've all had extreme success from this little country man who barely knew how to read and write, taught us how to make a little bit of money and serve people openly. They decided. It's a very simple word, but when we say the word decide in our family, it means literally to cut away all other options. We take it back to the root. They didn't make a choice to change their family lineage. They decided that we're not going to stop until we train our children to be different than what we came from. They homeschooled us. Now, homeschooling 35 years ago is totally different than it is today. We only had less than about 15,000 homeschoolers in the United States total. And for example, in Knox County, Tennessee, where I live, there's 56,000 school-age students in Knox County. There's about 60 million school-age students in the United States. We only had less than 15,000 total homeschoolers. And there wasn't a time we had curriculums. There wasn't a time when you had teachers you can go and get, or these sticky boards or Pinterest boards or things of that nature. Instead, what they had to figure out how to do is, how do we want our children to be equipped to serve others whenever they leave our house? And so they designed an education system around us where they drug us everywhere, and they trained us to think as adults when we were kids. They trained us to think by taking us and dragging us to Zig Ziglar conferences and Og Mandino and Charlie Tremendous Jones and all these various types of conferences. And we learned and we listened. And then at the age of 15, with that hard demand, Justin, don't have a job by Friday, don't come home, it unlocked this idea of business ownership. And then they invested the next 4 years of their life into us to teach us business. Within 2 years, my brother and I both, at the age of 16 and 14, each of us were making net income, take-home pay, greater than my mom and dad combined, because they decided to change their family lineage. They taught us business, and from there, they just poured into us throughout all of our high school years. So we had some principles they taught us around money. So we were raised before Dave Ramsey entered the scene by the gentleman by the name of Larry Burkett, who was like Dave Ramsey's predecessor. And it was basically, okay, we're going to give 10% of this away. We started supporting missions, if you will, just orphanage things around our heart belief at the age of 16 and 14. We had to put 10% back for long-term savings. So that's when I bought my first mutual fund way back in the day at the age of 16, working with an Edward Jones advisor way back then. And I didn't have hardly anything in terms of a competency for that mint. We got to blow the vast majority of it. We ate like kings. We had T-bone steaks for lunch, dude. We wore some nice clothes. We had some tricked out cars, but we also had to take a small percentage of that and reinvest back in the company. We had to use the idea of pay yourself first. So what we were buying is lawnmowers at the age of 16 that were $15,000, $20,000 with cash, not with debt. Because we had this principle of, debt is evil, cash is king. Let's build a business that's succession proof, et cetera. I wanted to find somebody who had been there, done that, who had played this game to achieve what I wanted to achieve in the exact same frame, in the exact same sandbox I was playing in. And they had a pathway that worked. They were teaching others. So I hired a coach. We're living a double wide. Our cars are stuck in the front yard. We have no money. We're making barely $50,000, $60,000 a year, barely, with a wife who stays at home with 3 babies. We living on duct tape and love. That's literally peanut butter and jelly became our filet mignon at that point. We were poor, man, financially poor. My coach, I meet him and he had accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. I called him up and I said, hey, my name's Justin Goodbread. I want to accomplish this. He said, come sit beside me at the pool. I literally go to his nice mansion and I'm sitting by his pool. He looked like the Godfather, smoking a cigar with his robe on. He said, Goodbread, how bad do you want it? I said, man, I want it pretty freaking bad, man. He said, can you see it? I said, yeah, I can. He goes, can you taste it? Yeah, I can see it, man. I see the vision. He goes, why do you want it? I said, because Jim Rohn said it's who I'm going to become through this process. It's not about the dollars. Never is. The minute you make money, the God, you lose. I said, it's not about the dollars. It's about, I want to prove to my 19-year-old self that I can do this. He goes, okay, I'm going to charge you $10,000 a month. Jim, I had no income. I had no job, had no business. I was making $250,000 and I walked away, and here we are barely living any money. We walked away for $250,000 to chase our dreams. Okay. And he says, I want to charge you 10 grand a month. And I went, you lost your ever loving mind. He said, how bad do you want it? And what he was forcing me to do was to go through that transformation as a human, as a husband, as a father, as a business person, as a friend, as a Christian, all these things to say, if you truly want this, then I'm going to coach you, but it's all rooted in belief. Everything is in belief. Do you truly believe you are worthy to obtain this? Do you truly believe you can attain this? Do you truly believe? He did eventually talk to me about frameworks and about funnels and about the technical. He literally, I spent 60 grand, 6 months, and all he spoke about every single day was belief. So I spent 60 grand. And he said, I remember the same, I said, dude, how am I going to pay you 10 grand a month? I don't have that much money. We're poor, man. He goes, find a way. If you want it, find a way. And he began talking about belief. You know, within about 12 weeks, I made enough money to pay him on a monthly basis through recurring revenue by him showing me how to find a way. And then we were playing with the house's money. So the technical came at about 6 months thereafter, but he wrote 6 months, 60 grand dealing with my noodle. And what I see happens, and here's where the vast majority of us fail. We put the vision out there, we put the dream, we lay it out there, and we even say, you know what, I'm ready to go. And we take the step, and then a spouse, a significant other, a mother, a father, a friend says, you lost your mind. What are you doing? And then we hit that little bit of resistance. The sale didn't go as planned. The car gets stuck in the driveway. It's not for me. Maybe I misunderstood. No, see, I love Napoleon Hill's book, one of my favorite books, Think and Grow Rich, where he says, our dream is on the opposite side of the resistance that we're facing today. We got to go through the resistance. And so what I was able to do in that 49 months, because my coach, who is my hero, worked with me and held my mind true and fixated on that dream. If you knew me, you'd know this is honest to God's truth. I'm a blessed man. I'm not the smartest. I'm not the best looking. Man, I was born and raised on a dirt road in South Georgia. I've chased alligators barefoot. I'm literally wearing flip-flops right now, living on a gravel road in East Tennessee. That's who I am. I'm just a country boy. I didn't go to some Ivy League college. I wasn't born with some high acumen and business mind. That's not who I am. What all of us can do is exactly what I learned. Number one, get crystal clear on what you want. Get crystal clear on what you want and align it with your purpose in life. Why did God create Justin Goodbread? I believe he gifted me uniquely, just like he gifted you uniquely, just like he gifted everybody uniquely. I believe that with all my heart. And so what is it that I want to achieve? So I already knew that I wanted to be a DecaMillionaire, that because I'd promised myself almost flippantly at the age of 19, but why not me? If you're just now hearing this idea of, oh my goodness, a $10 million net worth, then the challenge you're going to have is your belief, your core belief on, do you truly believe it is possible? I love this saying by Henry Ford. My kids get tired of me saying this. They hear it on a regular basis. I say it almost every day, and I say it tactically, and it's this way. If you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And so if you're just now hearing or being challenged and saying, oh, $10 million, that's way out there. I was thinking $1 million. And let me challenge you to recalibrate and think that it's possible. So your challenge you're going to have in this infancy is the belief that you have to achieve your wildest dreams. You know, so most business owners that I speak with, they try to reach this number. They'll say, you know, I want to get to $20,000 a month and take home pay. So let's say it's $250,000 a year. That seems to be the number that we land on in this modern year, 2025. And whenever you think about a business owner, let's say they do reach that level of success and they're making $250,000 a year. And many business owners are achieving that more and more these days. But we have really great CPAs and tax advisors out there who are saying, hey, look, let's not pay yourself all the money. Let's use our company to help safely shelter some of this money from taxes legally, according to their tax advisors. And all of a sudden, we end up doing things like we pay for our cell phones. We pay for our health insurance. We pay for our children, maybe our spouse or significant other. We take vacations as we're getting trained for CE. And before you know it, we now are taking home $250,000, but we have another 50, 100, 150, I've seen as much as $500,000 in benefits that are within this company that we've now raised our level of lifestyle to a level that $250,000 won't maintain for us in perpetuity. So back when I was a kid going to those conferences, I can remember, man, like it was yesterday, you got to reach to be a millionaire. You got to be a millionaire. But a millionaire is so 1900s. Now, in order for us to maintain this level of lifestyle, our net worth as business owners, we have to recalibrate our focus and now say 10 million is the number we have to achieve. Now, the reason 10 million is not this number I pulled out of thin air. It's this number that's rooted within foundational research. For example, if we went to a financial advisor and we said, hey, I've got $10 million, depending on the age, they may say, you know what, there's this rule called the rule of 4. Or maybe someone will say, you know what, we can take 5% of that out per year for the rest of your life, and you'll have enough money to live on regardless of what the markets have happen. So now after coaching thousands of business owners, that's no exaggeration, helping thousands of business owners rapidly grow their company, what I'm seeing is that we are conservative in nature outside of our business. So for us to reach this $10 million net worth that I say in my description, it's no longer a desire. It is now a mandate. It's now a requirement. You know, so I'd never built a coaching business. Mine's always been one-on-one or at the management or at the executive level, never the life that I've tried to design for ourselves for freedom at this point in life. And so I spent last year, we started launching in earnest last July and kind of floundered trying to figure out how to build this, because it's more of a teaching style motivation curriculum, because that's what I see, that's what I needed. And so I ended up hiring a coach myself who actually is the coach's coach. And this company took in January, they took what I had, we restructured it, we put it in a place to make, she outlined the A to Z context, and they're like, go implement this. And like I said, from January, we had no clients, and now we're going to probably by September, we'll have 7 figures of revenue, top line revenue recurring. This idea of freedom is I wanted to build a lifestyle that allowed me to be who I truly am. Where if that means on a Thursday afternoon, dude, or a Thursday morning, I want to hop on the tractor and mow the fields, so be it. If I want to grab my bride and my kids and go out of the country for 8 weeks, so be it. I wanted freedom where I was completely free from the world, in the sense of having to chase the dollar, in the sense of having to worry about what others thought about me, just living to my true authentic self. So what I see for business owners mostly is they want freedom. People in sales, they want freedom. They want where money will provide certain economic freedom, but they also want mental freedom and clarity and things of that nature, just to live their true self. So freedom is one of my words. I've sought that since I was about 15 years of age. And perhaps that's what's led to several businesses and various things in my life. But impact, man, that's my life, where you see me light up. You probably recognize it, which you have recognized it. I believe that each of us are being designed, and each of us are being molded for who we truly are meant to be. I believe that with all my heart. All of us have gone through difficult times when we're weeping, we're crying, we don't know which way is up, we're floundering. We've all gone through difficult times. And we've all gone through amazing times where it's like, wow, life, we're on top of the mountain. And any of those things that we've experienced in our life is not for us. Yes, it makes us who we are, but ultimately it's helping us and designing us for who we are meant to serve, who we're meant to be, who we're meant to look behind us and say, hey, brother, I see you going through the same hard time. Here's what helped me through this. To me, at this phase of my life, after a lot of successes, after a lot of failures, after a lot of pain and joy, I want to turn around and just impact as many people as possible. Help them not make the same dumb mistakes I've made or I've witnessed other people make. Help them achieve their highest potential. So that's why I use the word impact. If this country boy, born and raised on a dirt road in South Georgia, wearing barefoot the first 20 years of his life, chasing alligators and squirrels, if he can figure this out, then anybody can. I'll give you this example to kind of drive the point home. When I was in high school, we cut fairways for a golf course. We were contracted to get on these big fancy mowers and stripe fairways. We've seen them on like Augusta National where the stripes are perfectly laser beam. You know, whenever you're on that big mower, I mean, $100,000 plus mowers, if you look down at the ground and you turn around and go back, that mower zigzags. However, if I picked a pine tree thousands of yards away and I kept my eyes on that pine tree, I never looked down, I kept my eyes on that pine tree, I would turn that mower around after going 400 yards straight, and I would look around and it looked like a laser beam was there. My coach taught me, put your eyes on the prize. Don't focus on anything, the noise, the resistance, the pain, the suffering. Go for it. My grandma used to say, son, you'll clean a horse stall out with a fondue fork if it means enough to you. That, friend, is what matters.